All right, so let's talk about this book. This is another comic sent to me by my friend Chris, and it is Night Thrasher Remix. This comic is kind of interesting because I didn't know Night Thrasher was still around. I thought he had died or had become a kind of obscure character, because it kind of sucks, honestly, because Night Thrasher, I know he's a very 90s character. I know it's kind of a big thing to say. It's like, he's a very 90s character, and I did enjoy the New Warriors. I really loved the New Warriors as characters, and when they were gone, it kind of sucked, because these characters were pretty fun in their own right. So yeah. But it was cool to see Night Thrasher back in his own miniseries. This comic is written by Jay Holtham, with art by Nelson Daniel and Matt Milla. Yeah. So, what is this comic about? So this comic basically is Dwayne Taylor, coming back after dying and being resurrected. He comes back to New York, and he runs into a fellow member and his former lover, Silhouette, former member of the New Warriors and all that. And he basically says, "Look, he comes to her father's funeral and basically says, look, I'm ending the Taylor Foundation in Harlem. It's doing nothing, and I want nothing to do with it. I'm going to go back to being Night Thrasher now. Okay, bye." When clearly the dude is like, I died and came back, and now I'm dealing with other stuff, and I don't know how to process it. And Night Thrasher, if you know his character, then you know that, he's not good at processing things. He's not good at, being open or processing anything as a person. He's just kind of he's always played it, close to the chest. He's always been I just keep things to myself, and that's it. But it's actually gotten worse now, because the problem is now that what has happened to Harlem is that it's being torn apart by a new gang led by a villain called the OG. I can already tell you who the OG is. It's Rage, another former New Warriors member and a former member of the Avengers. The moment I saw the character on the back, I was like, oh, that's Rage. He's going to be the antagonist. And Rage is actually trying to save Harlem, which is being attacked by a group of, it's being torn apart by cops and gentrification. I gotta say, this comic does bring up a lot of heavy elements, the over-excessive use of force by law enforcement, gentrification in diverse parts of cities. It talks a lot. For 4 issues, it gives a lot of stuff to really think about and chew on. The comic also has I really like the artwork here. It's very almost, it feels like an animated series. Almost. I will say, though, I'm not a fan of Night Thrasher's new costume. It looks too much like the Night Watcher from Ninja Turtles, like Raph's costume from Raphael's costume from Ninja Turtles, which is now being part of the IDW canon now. I kind of wish they just went with the original costume, with the original, OG costume. But yeah. I also, I wish, Silhouette's costume also looks like a Power Ranger. Maybe that's just me. I wish they kept her, her black and yellow costume. I really like that one. But, yeah, the suit updates are not good. They looked a little too Power Ranger-y for me. But, yeah. It also ends in a really, sweet note. I'm not going to say how it ends, but it's a very, it's a solid, come-together kind of moment. And if you loved, New Warriors, if you loved reading, New Warriors, then there's a good chance you're probably going to, reading this comic, because it's also a sweet love letter, and also has great references to the era of New Warriors as well. The action's pretty solid, and Dwayne Taylor, himself is going through it, and you do see a lot of him dealing with that trauma of coming back, not being able to save himself or anyone else. The one thing I will say is the kind of a detriment is that even though this is a 4-issue miniseries, and I think it paces itself, I think it could have done well with maybe one more issue. Like, maybe a solid 5 issue instead of trying to, like... Oh, and while I do think this is pretty paced for 4 issues, I feel like the story could have had a little more time to breathe with maybe one more issue to kind of, like, let the themes of what they're saying in here, you know, really take effect. But all in all, it's a solid book. Like I said, if you were a, you know, if you ever read anything of New Warriors, I feel like this is going to be a solid love letter to that era. And I think now Night Thrasher's coming back in Marvel Comics, so maybe he's going to get an MCU show. I've heard rumors that he may get some appearances in the MCU, like Daredevil. Haven't confirmed. Maybe that's why they're trying to bring the character back so much. I think he's also going to be showing up in a new comic soon. I can't remember where, but all in all, it's a pretty solid, it's a nice little solid miniseries. Anyway, so once again, I'd like to thank Chris for sending me this comic. And you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think if you've read Night Thrasher Remix? What did you guys think of it? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.